How many of you have ever had a lucid dream? Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever had a lucid dream. I love lucid dreaming because I think it's so fascinating to know that I'm sleeping somewhere else, but I'm aware inside of my own mind. And to know without a shadow of a doubt that if anything happens to me in this experience, I'm just going to wake up in the other realm. I'm just going to wake up in the real world. This is why I love lucid dreaming. One of the things I don't love about lucid dreaming is that I can't share it with others. If you've had a lucid dream, have you ever tried to tell other people in a dream that you were in fact dreaming? I've done that many times and I've learned my lesson. I no longer do it because whenever I tell people in the lucid dream that I know for a fact that I'm dreaming, they write it off. No, you're not. You're crazy. What's wrong with you? And it's like, do you not understand this is all happening within my mind? This is a dream. I know for a fact this is a dream. And they say, you're crazy. And this reminds me of the scripture where Jesus says, do not throw pearls at swine, right? Because they don't know what to do with the information. And the same is true when it comes to raising your level of consciousness. When you start to operate in these higher states, it's hard to explain that to others. And the lucid dream has everything to do with what we're going to talk about today. So, I'm Beyond Taylor, and I am here to help you go beyond your self-imposed limitations. And today we're going to be talking about how you can repair any relationship because everyone is you pushed out. This is one of my favorite concepts to talk about in the law of assumption manifestation community because it points to the law of one. And why did I bring up that lucid dream example? Because this is, in fact, another dream. And as you start to raise your level of consciousness, you become more lucid. But when you look around you, you see that everyone is still asleep. And you want to run around and tell them, guys, this is a dream. This is a dream. We can do whatever we want. And they look at you like you're crazy, but that's because you're throwing pearls at swine. This is not a negative connotation towards them. It's just that they don't know what to do with the information. So this can cause a lot of destruction in our relationships because as we go up, we want everyone else around us to go up. We want everyone else around us to get it. We want everyone else around us to start leading with their heart, to have more compassion, to understand more. But they're just not there. So it just creates so much friction in our relationships. Or you have trauma in past places before you even came into this information and you're finding it hard to forgive these people or let it go because maybe their actions aren't shifting. So this video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can repair any relationship. I don't care how strained it is. You can repair any relationship by recognizing that everyone is yourself pushed out and using the law of assumption and your lovely imagination to see them for who they truly are. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how everyone is yourself pushed out. We're going to be talking about how to use your imagination to imagine others as their ideal selves. And then we're going to be talking about what to do in the waiting period. Because before we shift into the reality with the new version of the individuals you want to change our relationship with, they're going to still be the same. And we got to deal with the triggers that are going to come up with that. So I'm going to tell you how to navigate those triggers. So let's get right into the video. So everyone is yourself pushed out. What does this really mean? When we say I am, we talked about this and we're going to continue to talk about this in my videos. Everyone is saying I am. When I say I, me, mine, what is this I, me, mine? Who is this person? Is it the collection of thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions that I hold? No, because those are constantly shifting and changing. So that can't possibly be who I am because I am prior to all of the characteristics that I could ever say about myself. And that the same I am, when I say I am, that's the same I am that you say. It is not separate. It's the exact same. And that's why we're the same. It's just consciousness appearing as the many. The same way when you have a dream at night and it in a world forms with so many different components, different people. I may have a dream if I've met you in person. I may have a dream about you. And let's say you're in this waking realm, but then I'm asleep and then you're also there. How is that? What is that that's creating you? It's the imagination substance. It's the dream substance. It is consciousness that's creating you. And it's all made out of the same thing, the same substance, which is my dream substance. The same thing is happening here. You are looking at the substance of your mind, your dream substance, and it's appearing as the many. Let me show you the best way that I can understand this. So let's take this piece of paper as being consciousness, awareness, God. I use all of these words interchangeably. And let's say, just as the paper alone, consciousness cannot experience itself outside of itself. Because how would it? All it is just this single sheet. So it has to divide itself. And when it divides itself, now it can experience itself. And consciousness just continues to divide itself, continues to separate itself into so many different forms. Let's say this is blue, this is green, this is red, this is hard, this is soft, this is fuzzy, this is scaly, right? Each piece of this paper can take a different form, and it can say, I am a red fuzzy piece of paper. I am a blue scaly piece of paper. But it's the I am that it's referring to is the single sheet that it started out with. But then it started to divide itself so that the fuzziness can experience the shininess, even though it's the same exact thing. And that's why I think consciousness divided itself and took on the characteristics of what we see now as our reality that appears to be separate, because it wanted to experience itself outside of itself. It wanted to experience itself outside of itself at the same exact time, at an infinite time. Talking about dreams, I once had a dream. And still to this day, it makes no sense to my mind because I operate in three-dimensional space. But I had a dream that I was in a hotel room, and I was probably on like the 30th floor. It was a nice hotel. And I was in there and I was talking to another person. And at the exact same time, I had the perspective of me. I had the perspective of who I was talking to. And I was also on the street looking up into our hotel room. I was looking in the window and I could see myself and the other person talking. I held all three perspectives at once. I woke up like, how was that even possible? In the dream, it didn't seem weird. It didn't seem odd. Like it flowed. Like I was really able to be myself, be this person, also be the other person, looking at the same, like simultaneously. And I was like, that's how consciousness always is. It's always experiencing all of these events at once. But as soon as I become strictly identified to this body and this mind, now I have limited myself to only this and taken myself to only be my body and my mind as Taylor with all the characteristics that come after it. But that's not the case. I am everything because I say I am, and I am is prior to all of experience. I am was prior to me even being born. I was aware of the fact that I was born. How was I aware of the fact that I was born if I wasn't born yet? What was it that was aware prior to me coming out of my mother? That is who I am. And the little being that came out of my mother has evolved into what you see now. And it's going to continue to change. So how could this be me when I am prior to this and I am aware of the changes? Who I am, who you are, never changes. It doesn't take on any form, but it is intimate with all forms. It creates the characteristics of all forms, but it is prior to. And someone asked me, how can I become aware of becoming aware? It's through self-inquiry. It's through constantly redirecting your attention to, like I said, what is it that's aware before I speak? When I look out into my reality, before my mind comes up and starts to label it and name it and give me all the narratives and characteristics that go along with just existing, what is that space prior to? And the more you take your attention there, the easier it is to remember and recognize that you already have access to that state now. You are always aware, but the idea of being a separate individual is what is veiling. It creates the veil over that experience. It's not an experience. It's just what is. It's just the eternal now. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this so much is because this is the foundation of how we're going to repair our relationships, because we understand that they are not separate from us. We are all the light within you is the same as with the light within me, right? When we say namaste, the light within me honors or bows to the light within you, because it's the same light. When you think about a rainbow, it appears to be so many different colors, but that is just based on how it's vibrating and its frequency, but it's all the same light. That is how everyone is you pushed out, because it's all the same light, just appearing as different colors of the rainbow. And then it gets really tricky, because it gets so real, because because of how localized and how the emotions in our body contracts us into being in this particular shape and object and form. We really take it as being all that we are. When we start to release identification with our emotions, release identification with the mind, we start to expand. And this expansion takes on the form of all things. Because we are all things. We have never not been all things. Just thinking makes it so. Everyone is just yourself pushed out, because there's only one consciousness, one God, one mind. And there's literally only one mind, which is why telepathic communication works, which is why, you have synchronizations, which is why, you can be sitting next to someone and you guys both burst out in the same song, or you say the same thing, because there's only one mind. And remember, we are never thinking thoughts. We're always receiving thoughts. The idea that we're thinking thoughts is just another thought. It's just another thought. We never actually think thoughts, because there is no true separate self. There's only the one appearing as the many. We're receiving thoughts based on where we are vibrating, based on our frequency. I love this example as if you're on a radio station, and let's say you want to listen to jazz, but you're on the pop station. The pop station is 92.3, but jazz is 107.5. You cannot expect jazz to come in on that pop station until you turn the dial, until you turn the frequency. Or even, let's say, for example, when you're watching television, you cannot expect to get Nickelodeon on channel 7, on the news channel. You got to go to channel, I think 32, I don't remember when I was a kid, but channel 31. You got to go to channel 31 in order to get Nickelodeon. You got to turn the dial. And when you turn the dial and then it goes into that frequency, then what gets signaled is the new image. The same goes with reality. Whatever dial we are turned in, that's going to determine what's getting signaled to us, whether it's thoughts, experiences, circumstances, people. It has everything to do with where we are vibrating with our frequency. And the best way to shift your frequency to your desired reality, to your desired outcomes, is by recognizing that you are everything. You are I am, and so is everyone else. And then you take on the characteristics of being one with your environment, of being lucid inside the dream. And that's how you become in alignment with your desire, because your desire has the characteristics. I don't care what you want. All desires have the same characteristics. Everybody wants peace, happiness, and joy, and abundance. I couldn't think of the last one. It doesn't matter what you want it to have one of those characteristics. But that's the quality of what you are, because you are without bounds, you are without limits, you are not affected by the realms of duality, right? The only reason why we suffer is because of our attachment to the identity that we think we are. As soon as we lessen our attachment to our identity, suffering will cease, because we know that we are so much more, because we start to identify with what holds this experience, with the awareness that's prior to who we were before we were even born. That one is not affected. It's just the stillness. It's just the restingness. It's just the observing. It's just the observer watching the experience without any judgment about what's good or bad. How could it suffer when it doesn't judge anything as good or bad? It's just a full acceptance. It's just a full yes. This is your nature. This is what is everyone is you pushed out means, because that's everyone's nature. It's just most people are asleep in a dream, and they only think that they are the body and the mind. So as you wake up, give these people grace, because they're just following condition. They're just following a script. They have no choice but to be the actors in that movie. But you are the director. You are the star. Write their scripts the way that you want them to show up. And what's going to happen is that you're going to attune to that station, and you're going to get that new reflection of that ideal relationship. So let's go into part two, which is how to use your imagination to shift these relationships, to repair these relationships. And I'm going to give you an example of how I've done it. I've done it multiple times, which is why I'm so passionate and I love talking about relationships when it comes to law of assumption and imagination, because I know that we are always imagining others. Without our perception of them, they just are love. They just are awareness. They just are God. But as soon as we start to become identified with the story that our mind is playing based on where we're vibrating and the thoughts that are being signaled to us, when we identify too much with that, we shade that they're like an outline in a coloring book, and we start to shade it in with all these beliefs that we have about them. We can choose new colors and completely alter the relationship. So how do we choose new colors? By going into our imagination, by going into what's even shading it. Example, my old boss, I used to be a server. I used to think she had it out for me. Not even out for me specifically, but for everybody. She was like extremely angry. I hated coming to work. It was just like a very toxic environment. But every time before I would get to work, I was talking to her in my head. I was arguing with her. I was telling her how I felt. I was getting ready for her responses. I was writing her narrative about. In March is when I started to get really serious with this work. And I started with what was closest to me, which is my job, because I was there 5 days a week. I started to shift my narrative of her. I stopped arguing with her in my head. When the arguments would play, I would just watch them with loving awareness. I would feel the emotions that came up, and then I would turn my attention to something else. And I just kept doing that as much as I could. I wasn't perfect, but I kept doing it as much as I could. And before you know it, she started to shift. I started to enjoy going to work. We started to laugh together. The whole dynamic shift. Because, like Neville says, others echo what we whisper out loud. Others are always echoing what we're whispering, which is just what we're identifying with when it comes to the thoughts that are being signaled to us. So it's just important to start to change the narratives within. Change the narratives. And another person I changed with was with my mom. Me and my mom had a terrible relationship when I was growing up, like very bad. And it wasn't until I started to take this work serious, and this was back when I first got into the work in 2021, our dynamic changed because I recognized that everyone is just me, pushed out. I started to see the light in her. I stopped looking only at her flaws because I recognized that it was just a conditioning and she had no choice but to play out her script. And I started to see the love underneath the harsh words that she would say. And before you knew it, she shifted before my eyes. The same with my partner. I told you guys we broke up when I was 6 months pregnant. How do you think we got back together? Because I stopped seeing him just for the conditioning. I started to see the light. I started to see the love, the truth within these individuals. And because I only focused on the truth, I only focused on their being, I was identifying with that state. And that state has to be mirrored back. It has no choice. Life is nothing but a mirror. It's just a dream. It's just a holograph. It's an illusion. The only thing that's real is what cannot be destroyed. The only thing that cannot be destroyed is what was never born or has never died. You are aware of birth. You are aware of death. That can't be you. That can't be you. You are prior to all experience. That is what you are. That's what everyone is. So I started to remember that's what everyone is. And I let go of the conditioning. I stopped fighting with their conditioning. I changed the narratives in my mind. I imagined them differently. I imagined them as their best selves. A common critique that, everyone is you pushed out or that's had in this community is that it's manipulation. Like you're manipulating others by trying to behave the way you want. But you're not manipulating when you're doing things for everyone's best interest. All you're doing is just seeing the truth within them. And the truth within them is just going to honor the truth within you. That's it. That's all. I do not subscribe to obsessive affirming. Oh, this person is in love with me. We're in a healthy relationship. Everything works out. I do not subscribe to that. I just subscribe to seeing the truth within them. And of course, this is going to involve a level of forgiveness, to forgive their conditionings, because Father, forgive them for that they know not what they do. They were very asleep. They were very asleep, acting very unconsciously the same way that I have done before. So when I take the speck out of my eye, I can, like, I don't focus on taking the speck out of my brother's eye. It says it's in the Bible as well. I take the speck out of my eye, and I recognize that the speck was clouding the perception. There was never any error there. The error was always within my own perceiving. So once I change that, the relationship heals. And I imagine them as their best self, as what they want. Because I said we all want the same thing: abundance, freedom, joy, love, peace. We all want the same thing. So when I just imagine them as having that, as feeling that, as attaining these states, however that plays out is not my business. But what it usually does is it plays out in alignment with my imagination, with what I desire. Because that's just the way it works. So remember that when you are repairing your relationships, see them for the truth of who they are. Rewrite the script in your imagination. Stop arguing with these people in your minds. And if you have a hard time with like getting out of your train of thought when it's dragging you into filth, just shift your attention to something else. Of course, this is going to require practice. I wouldn't expect you to go in a gym and lift 500 pounds. You start off small. You do what you can at first. Shift your attention. If it brings you back, when you recognize again, shift your attention. Do what you can. But know the more you show up to do this practice out of joy, out of just the joy of learning the truth about who you are, everything will shift for you. Everything will turn around for you. And the relationship. And even, and I know there are some where someone has done something that seems very unforgivable towards you, or you feel like there's no way to repair it, or you want nothing to do with this individual, whether it's a family member, an associate, a romantic partner, whatever the case may be. It's still affecting you, because you holding on to that hurt is still creating a filter for how you see the world. You are still seeing the world through that hurt. So it's still best to let that go by recognizing that they are more than their conditioning. They are exactly what you are. So take the speck out of your eye. Forget your brother, forget your sister. And I mean, everybody's your brother and your sister, because we're all one. Take that out of your eye, and you will start to see them for who they truly are, which is just yourself. There is no difference. There is no separation. The illusion creates the separation. The illusion comes up when we identify only as the beliefs, the perceptions, and the objects that we can hold and touch and perceive. That's a little piece of it. Who is it that's aware of this experience? The same awareness that's aware of what I'm aware of right now is the same awareness that you are using. It's not separate. It's not separate. So imagine them beautifully. I love imagining. I love using my imagination. I love going into my imagination and seeing scenes of everyone at peace, of everyone happy, of everyone living in harmony. If I start to have a problem with someone, or my perception, my judgment is flawed because it's within me, I go into my imagination and I see it correctly. And then I know that my subconscious is going to take care of the rest. We don't have to do so much work in the conscious field if we start to go into that state where we can communicate with the subconscious mind and allow the subconscious to take on most of the heavy lifting. This is what people mean when they say, let go and let God, right? Get out of the driver's seat. Your only job is to observe what's going on. And I mean, to do what you can in a conscious state, but to do it out of the joy of learning more about yourself, of contemplating your true nature, of contemplating how everyone is yourself pushed out. Contemplate that for the joy of just becoming lucid in a dream, not because you want to control anything. Take away the field of controlling. Take away the responsibility of others to make you feel good. Figure out how is this preventing what this person is doing, preventing me from feeling okay now. Become very curious about that. And the spiritual work won't seem like such a chore. It won't seem so daunting. This is freedom. Every second you could practice this every second of the day. And it can become such a joy to see how life just starts to expand and transform. The more that you raise your level of conscious awareness, the more lucid you become in a dream. So part 3, we're going to talk about how to not react to the triggers as everything is shifting. Because in the beginning, when you first start to imagine, the person that you are trying to repair the relationship with, you're not going to be tuned into that station right away. It's going to take a little bit of work for you to trust that you are in the state and to maintain there and to maintain the state. It's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, a little bit of work. And while you're tuning into that station, you still got to deal with the triggers, especially if you're in close proximity to these individuals. It can be extremely triggering, and it can make you revert back to your past, identifying as they're separate from me. They know what they're doing. I'm going to hold them responsible for their actions. They know what they're doing. Now, this is a very esoteric understanding of law of assumption, conscious manifestation, because and this can be harmful to individuals who are not fully understanding of the concept that everyone is you pushed out. If you don't fully understand the concept of everyone is you pushed out, this can seem to be harmful, because it seems as if I'm excusing what people have done to you. It seems as if I'm trying to make you take all the accountability, all the blame. I'm not doing that. I just really want you to wake up to the truth. I also want you to have some compassion and understanding that if they could do different, they would do different. Right? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Anytime someone has done something traumatic or harmful or evil to you, you may say it's evil. They did not do that out of malice. They did it out of programming. They did it because they were just following their script. They had no choice. They were very much asleep in the dream. The same way that you have been and I have been. And we will continue to be as we operate through this world of duality. So we have to see that more than anything. And then it will become much easier to forgive and to not feel like a victim to any of our relationships, because we know that the perception is always within us, and we can always shift the perception to see them as what they actually are, which is just a mirror of the divine self within you, within me. So when triggers do appear, the best way to work with them is to rest as what you actually are. Just rest as the observer. Just observe the emotions that are coming up within you as this person is saying something mean, or their actions don't seem like you guys are moving to a place of harmony. Accept the state. Accept that you guys are, the relationship is mended. You guys are in this healed relationship. You've imagined it. It's done. As soon as you accept the state, it's done. So when triggering events happen, you know that it's done. You know that this is just past programming playing out. You know that you're just still on the station. You're still just vibrating to the frequency of this individual. But that the more that you can rest in the truth, you are tuning your dial to that new station. And then see them again. Just see the truth. See that they are actually awareness. See the light within them. Just regardless of what they do, unless it's like physically harmful and it's like verbally abusive and it's really affecting you. This is when I recommend like no contact or getting out of the situation, so that you can work on your own vibration before you get around this person again. And because I don't want you to entertain this version, but if you have no choice but to entertain the version, just constantly put your attention back to you. Inside of your own body, what are you feeling? And then, because this is getting long, but this person, whatever emotions are coming out, these emotions just need to be alchemized. So whatever emotions are being triggered within you by this person, just allow those emotions to become alchemized. Allow them to come to the surface so that you can see them for what they are. Just observe them, and they will become alchemized into love, because they have no effect on who you actually are. They're just emotions. They're just sensations. They're just perceptions. They're just thoughts. They have no intrinsic value. The only value is that which never was born or dies. And that is the true nature of everything, of everyone. So that's how you can stop being so triggered when you're waiting to tune into the station where you are experiencing the ideal version of this person, where you are experiencing the ideal version of the relationship, the harmonious flow-based relationship, because we live in a multiverse, right? So you are tuning into that universe of that person. There are infinite versions of every single one of us. So you're not trying to change the person. That's why this is not manipulative. You're not trying to change the person. You're just tuning to another station. You're just changing the channel, and you're experiencing an entirely different person. I hope this was helpful. I love talking about this. If you want to get deeper into these concepts, I am offering one-on-one coaching now. A lot of you have asked, so I figured while I am still creating the membership, if you want to join the membership, go down, sign up for the wait list down below for the membership. But until the membership goes live, I will be doing one-on-one coaching. The link will be down below. Definitely sign up. And also, I have a free live workshop this Saturday where we are going to be talking about safety and abundance. We're going to be getting deep into the esoteric understanding that everyone is you pushed out. We're going to get deep into we're going to go into some practical practices, exercises, meditations about how to recognize that you are the awareness behind all of experience. We're going to have some fun in here, okay? And then it's going to be a live Q&A at the end. You guys can ask me questions. And yeah, thank you guys so much for 3,000 subscribers. This is just my thank you to you, my celebration. Like, thank you guys, because I read the comments. I've been y'all see me. If y'all know, y'all know. I've been trying to get back to every single one of y'all. I need to, but I love you guys. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think about the video. And yeah, hopefully I'll be seeing you guys Saturday, August 31st in the live workshop, or I'll be seeing you guys soon for a one-on-one if you're interested in going deeper and just having some more help with these understandings, with these concepts. I'm your girl. I'm here to get you beyond your self-imposed limitations. Follow me on IG. We're still doing a 75 hard over there. And I think that's it. I think that's all the promo I got. I love you guys, and I will be seeing you soon. Oh, yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, that's all I got. I love you. Bye.